This is Icon Radio.
Something new. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Niggas wanna try, niggas wanna lie, niggas wonder why, niggas wanna die. All I know is pain, all I feel is rain. How can I maintain with that shit on my brain? I resort to violence, my niggas moving silence like you don't know what our style is. New York niggas the wildest, my niggas is with it.
This is Icon Radio.
Something new. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Niggas wanna try, niggas wanna lie, niggas wonder why, niggas wanna die. All I know is pain, all I feel is rain. How can I maintain with that shit on my brain? I resort to violence, my niggas moving silence like you don't know what our style is. New York niggas the wildest, my niggas is with it. You want it? Come and get it. Took it, then we split it. Right, we did it. What the fuck you gon' do when we run up on you? Fucking with the wrong crew. Don't know what we going through. I'ma have to show nigga how easily we blow. Let me find out it's a moat that's running with young nothing we can't handle. Break it up and dismantle. Light it up like a candle. Just cause I can't stand you. Put my dish on tapes like you busting grapes. Think you holding weight, then you haven't met the apes. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. It's shots looking crazy, I'll bust you and be crazy. Stop acting like a baby. Mind your business, lady. Nosy people get it too. When you see me spit at you, you know I'm trying to get rid of you. Yeah, I know it's pitiful. That's how chicken get down. Watch my chicken get round. Take that chicken this ground. Just for talking this clowns. Oh, you think it's funny? Then you don't know me, money. It's about to get ugly. I'm dog, I'm hungry. I guess you know what that means. Come up off that green. Fries against on ravine. Don't make it a murder scene. Give a dog a bone. Leave a dog alone. Let a dog roam and he'll find his way home. Home of the brave. My home is the cave. And yo, I'm a slave to my home is the grave. I'm a pull papers. It's all about the papers. This gets caught the papers and now they wanna rape us. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Look what you done started. Ask for it, you got it. Had it, should've shot it. Now you dearly departed. Get at me, dog, in a rip. But this one here, I flip. Nigga know when I kick. Gonna be some slicks. What would that look for when I walked in the door? Oh, you thought you was raw? Not anymore. Cause now you on the floor. Wishing you never saw me walk through that door with that 4-4. Now it's time for bed. 2 more to the head. Got the floor red. Yeah, that chicken dead. Another unsolved mystery. It's going down in history. Niggas ain't never did this to me. Niggas can't get to me. Got to make a move. Got a point to prove. Gotta make them groove. Got them all like ooh. So to the next time you hear this friggin' rhyme, try to keep your mind on getting so in crime. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop.
This is Icon Radio.
John, like John, ati unasema come back again, sizisikia ngoma wa wa, ati zimeshika kamkono, zimeshika kamkono. Ati unasema come back again, sizisikia ngoma wa wa, ati zimeshika kamkono, zimeshika kamkono. Ati zimeshika kama pia Kenya mbura. Na ni non-stop design tunapurura. Na washa nikichain tukisikiza za machura. Kelele mingi bado maji tunakunywa. Leta kinarine kusitie kila. Niko makali ama yotenda sinira. Napenda vena songa neza guza ama lao. Jina bado trio mio, I'm the baddest in the town eh. Trio mio fuck kinyo mekwambia. Untakukaribia muna takukaribia. Vile utashika baby gani kwa maziwa. Neza kushike treti lunaitisho unapatiwa. Ati unasema come back again. Sizisikia nkoma wa. Ati zimeshika kamkono. Zimeshika kamkono. Ati unasema come back again. Sizisikia nkoma wa. Ati zimeshika kamkono. Zimeshika kamkono.
Yeah, flejeshi yangu iko no moja. Na feel nekanko in a cold lately. And I ain't even hit my pinnacle deadly. Vlembogi iko juu ya maji, call him sailor. Say you the one there with a miracle baby. Price ya leo si ya jana gade. Kona mama na niyandama do you manza na bread. Na ndo mana miuzoza sana juu mitani meset. Chunga dranya juu tukikutana ineza zama kwa said. Na wezi try kuni finesse. Juu hiyo trend ilianzisha. Speak misundo kwa cabinet. Ampex kwa ploti na sababisha. Natembea kama governor uko western. Itaje jine ya nigga misiko fresh tan. Fresh cam, Islando sindo the best clan. I got the sauce shinda kampuni ya peptang. Silly me, sizzy simp mini G. Ini biz kama shop CBDs. Livity, mini raski gizi. Lyrically ini smack DVDs. Nimeshika kama mkono safi. Advice na msomo staki. Zimeshika di maboy na manyonyo ametoa mashati. Woi juani kubaya, sina oni pornographic. Au pay manual na vako zetu automatic.
Ati unasema come back again. Sizisikia nkoma wa. Ati zimeshika kamkono. Zimeshika kamkono.
Ati zimekana shi. Ati zimekana shi.
Zimerunda tunajitepa na the kamati. Wanati polite wakimezesha pa wanati. Wita nakalisha mganazi. Tumebeba zitu chini ya maji tunachapa sips. Ambia msupa sitenzi mekapati. Nyuma keko sawa mbele tunapenda double D's. Painting time ya mechini mabalancing. Ebu tana round tora saba lafu standardiz.
Na tunasema
come back again. Sizisikia nkoma wa. Nati zimeshika kamkono. Zimeshika kamkono. Zimeshika kamkono. Wait a split bill, sija kunywa ngazi solo. I'm just playing round ingine mendo sponyo. Wapewe watoki hizi area mikasongo. Simsima, seuga the keys to my bima. Nishapata key, cheza na bosi. Unakunywa, unabana shi. Madolari na wateka na the currency. Unakuja soba, unarudi zimetona shi.
This is Icon Radio.
Uko ready kuni judge? Bona boy wa area lisare kwenda church. But hakuna mwenye anajua chenye na go through. Penye nalia solo na sina mtu wa kushare na mtu wa kugo to. Big sis ndio amelazwa na cancer. Na mtoi bana amezaliwa na ugonjwa ina answer. Nisha give up. The same time na fight depression. The same time na fight addiction. Mtoya mezaliwa manze na ma complication. Wanna die it's complicated, hawezi complete kesho. The same time na fight addiction. The same time na fight depression. Big C zako hosi na ugonjwa ijulikani. Habongi na kuli amestick to kitandani yeah. God usi give up on me. Dunisha give up on myself yeah. Mkoro usi lose up in me. Dunisha lose up in myself. God usi give up on me. Dunisha give up on myself. Mkoro usi lose up in me. Dunisha lose up in myself. Ni insane. Morio nilitrust njali ni sell. Ona tena nimerudi manze kwa hizi dust za cell. Kushughulikia plan C ndio ilifanya plan A na busy ka fail. Damn, waliniuzia the wrong drugs, I mean addict wa caffeine. Nilikuwa na try to show the hero in me. Na vitisho za kujidunga, my hero in me. Na sasa siwezi kumbuka manze how long it has been. From 3 bedroom, na sasa sina place ya kulala hata kwa pin. Washani nickname junkie, imefika mahali mpaka wazazi hawanitaki. 100k nilimisiuse na siku moja, I'm not lucky. I wish ningekuwa marua kila siku nikuwe naamka na bahati, na huku kwetu mimi ndio lasti. Nilikosea masharti, say life imenishika mashati. Kuona sisi na mtoyo si the same, it's hurting. Dunia wanafiki, pata shida kidogo ndio ujue hauna rafiki we. God usi give up on me, Junisha give up on myself. Mkoro usi lose up in me, Junisha lose up in myself. God usi give up on me, Junisha give up on myself. Mkoro usi lose up in me, Junisha lose up in myself. Niko stressed about drugs, na depressed cause of life. Na feel nijitafutia cause ya death, cause sina cause kwa hii life. Gari na nyumba niliuza in the name of a rosto. Wife akepakiwa na ball nikabaki mabonyoto. Na ni life saving na sink, depend on me. Kwanza nikikumbuka venye Big Caesar na depend on me. Anateseka na sina do ya kumbaia hata dawa. Mimi mwenyewe natetemeka, sina do ya kujibaia madawa. Makesi zimefanya simu zangu hawashiki. Stress nikinyanya na kwa wazimu na hazishiki. Nikimedisana na jiona nikiwa maiti. Nahitaji prayer mother na blessings za almighty. Life naishi manze tricky, stress imejaza kwa kichwa na ni mingi hazihesabiki. Nilipoteza focus nikichesiana na hizi makiki. Niko na beef na 7 days, juadi wa leo nimeshindwa kusukuma wiki. The same time na fight depression, the same time na fight addiction. Mtoya mezaliwa manze na ma complication. Wanadai it's complicated, hawezi complete kesho. The same time na fight addiction, the same time na fight depression. Big Caesar kohosi na ugonjwa ijulikani. Abongi na akuli amestick tu kitandani, yeah. God usi give up on me, Junisha give up on myself. Mkoro usi lose up in me, Junisha lose up in myself. God usi give up on me, Junisha give up on myself. Mkoro usi lose up in me, Junisha lose up in myself. Junisha lose up.
Yele mama, yele mama.
This is Icon Radio.
Give me a beat, I'ma jump on it. Critics decide whether to bump on it. Throw hype or dump on it. Missy Nagase, I just camp on it. Usiku mchana, pen and paper beside me, reflecting on life. Music's my idea, do it for passion, no TV or IG. But they don't understand that I don't walk the way they walk. In sky's the limit, I ain't stop. Telling dreams, yeah, let's go shop. Watch the vibes that I keep dropping. I'm just trying to elevate my mind. Working hard to regulate my pride. Can't lag behind. I miss the line. Hey, una drip damage, me na die diamonds. And to live a dream, una joy you got a power. You can't relate. You can't relate. Una drip damage, me na die diamonds. And to live a dream, una joy you got a power. You can't relate. You can't relate. You think you're badass. Mnapenda tuku party. Mnapenda free rides. Na mikopoza I'm sorry. You living the fast life. Out here a Maserati. Utapata habari. Misitezaki kamari. Huwa mtezo hatari. If you didn't know, now you know, now you know, now you know, better know. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma.
Jackie.
VIC Esoteric F.O.N.Z. kwa beat F.O.N.Z. Okay, jina ni Victor na sijai kuwa kwa who smarter now. Naishi Eastlands unawetu ni hame we sahau. VIC na salute Eastlands kama karao. Home ground ya Shenga uskina ungia be different. Hauja notice mina Shimoli tuko na resemblance. Ukipata accident umegongwa tu na ambulance. Mbuyu wako most likely anaendeshanga ambulance. Ubest ni unstable kandege iko na turbulence. Wacha nketa umenyang'anywa simu via SMS. Malimanzi yako get ball juu ya SCX. Unamuliza uko na ball kwani ulikuwa World Cup. Ukienda kuona best jifanye kuna mixer. Halafu kipata sistake unamtoa top up chapsa. Watu huku ni wengi Pumwani kuna nduru non-stop. Kwa bus stop matriz na flota Juja na Jogoro. Bottle Julami siku hizi ni rough road. Makauzi makarao walevi ni Eastland. Mahoka makonda madere ni Eastland. Kongaji mahasla wadosi ni Eastland. Majizi maoida walanguzi ni Eastland. Ni Eastland anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland anthem. Ini anthem.
Give me a beat, I'ma jump on it. Critics decide whether to bump on it. Throw hype or dump on it. Missy Nagase, I just camp on it. Usiku mchana, pen and paper beside me, reflecting on life. Music's my idea, do it for passion, no TV or IG. But they don't understand that I don't walk the way they walk. In sky's the limit, I ain't stop. Selling dreams, yeah, let's go shop. Watch the vibes that I keep dropping. I'm just trying to elevate my mind. Working hard to regulate my pride. Can't lag behind. I miss the line. Hey, una drip damage, me na die diamonds. And to live a dream, una joy you gotta buy one. You can't relate. You can't relate. Una drip damage, me na die diamonds. And to live a dream, una joy you gotta buy one. You can't relate. You can't relate. You think you're badass. Mnapenda tuko party. Mnapenda free rides. Na mikopoza I'm sorry. You living the fast life. I fear Maserati. Utapata habari. Misitezake kamari. Huwa mtezo hatari. If you didn't know, now you know, now you know, now you know, better know. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. Siliwashika mkadhani nyini 0-0, lakini sasa mmefika kwenye jury. Ukiwa nami vua kiburi, acha nifafanue. Kuna wale wamerock my team na mavan na masuit na majay na mayay na makd, but you still owe rent to the landlady. How is that? Mnapenda tu kufloss na kutoss na mademu wale wa hot show off smoke pot. Mika Uber to a ninja with no car. Living to impress, you know you won't go far. Unalala njaa unashinda kwa bar. Utabaki na makovu mkardinali score. They say fake it till you make it, but this is life, you gotta face it. Hey, snaga time ya kupiga kelele. Ni manoka twarushie mchele. Hella mad they acting all silly. Kwenye beat I'm a kill, I'm a spilling. Shoot of us kila mahali living hella stink. Flow through the vibe all they haters sing. Only tryna get high, I'ma roll up. Tryna man up all the city squaddy, all out. Can you check it kila time, not a stroller. I'm too busy chasing a dream, ni kuebola. Flani na saka ganji, hey. Wanashanga hizi ni gani? Huyu dame uchachisha. Kani mali ye husafisha. Hey, na huwezi mtisha. And if you didn't know, now you know, better know. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. Check it damn, wanadai nimechezi, wanadai shouldn't say no. Wanasema nachoma. Talking like I ain't original. Many all lost aboriginal. You see I'm tryna get that paper. My wallet's tryna get that weight up. And I ain't got the time to lay up. Wait up, stay up, steady tryna get that up. I'ma keep on burning with passion, wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma. I'ma keep on burning with passion, never learning. Success to keep on yearning. Wanasema nachoma.
This is Icon Radio.
Them a go like the one the dog. Every gal in every corner. Say them hot like a spliff of marijuana. Yeah.
Much pan medicine they me heal. Girl check up and we on the daily. From every ghetto to every suburb area. Holy pa gal in a we cellular.
Pan a pretty kitty never back down me. Mix up the pina with the raw bony. You know what happen when car rolling Joni. She call me daddy like she don't know me. Now put me jaw going to no lower door. The way me show dress in her, you woulda call it loan. The way me rub rush, you woulda want me come me down. When me drive the taxi, put it in a yellow zone. Could go down the street just fi cross one red light. Girl can give me green light. Say man I use blue light. Say she want get with a yard man tonight. Cause that's what she like. She don't want no big pipe. Could go the street just fi cross one red light. Girl can give me green light. Say man I use blue light. Say she want get with a yard man tonight. Cause that's what she like. She don't want no big pipe.
We have girl from uptown, downtown, runtown. Girl we come back when she left town. Sample limit a brown girl, black girl, white girl, bleach out girl with the yellow tongue. We no care we want tall girl, short girl, fat girl, slim girl, in a nut shape girl. One thing we know we not tongue girl, kick out box girl, got a lot of love for each and all girl.
Haijalishi kama ametoka kianda, awe flat ama amebeba sianda, akuwe mpole ama mloud ka kinanda, awe bright kwa vitabu ama danda, bora kwa life status bado inabanda, kwa kitchen ni blanda, pro kwa kitanda, uptown kibanda, kitenge ama brada, downtown kupanda, yole hadi mada, ameshuka line slow quiver makipara, team natural makeup mara kwa mara, dunge high heel doll shoe ama Sahara, single entourage jama wale wa msafara, girl from near, girl from far, moja penda leda mwingine anapenda far, Uganda Tanzania, girl from Gulf, wale wa kukata na wale anapenda bar.
From uptown, downtown, runtown, girl we come back when she left town. Sample limit a brown girl, black girl, white girl, bleach out girl with the yellow tongue. We no care we want tall girl, short girl, fat girl, slim girl, in a nut shape girl. One thing we know we not tongue girl, kick out box girl, got a lot of love for each and all girl. Wote,
Baby,
simpite yote,
kadere,
Juliana wake, we got mad space. Nasema leo, wote,
baby,
simpite yote,
kadere,
Juliana wake, we got mad space. Nasema leo, we have girl from uptown, downtown, runtown. Girl we come back when she left town. Sample limit a brown girl, black girl, white girl, bleach out girl with the yellow tongue. We no care we want tall girl, short girl, fat girl, slim girl, in a nut shape girl. One thing we know we not tongue girl, kick out box girl, got a lot of love for each and all girl. Natamani kam Hindi manika chinchi na important from Caribbean. Thick like Shensi, a bad man at milk you know from Haiti.
Yeah, I know you've been waiting. This is the Volt, as we say, Kenyan hip hop to the world. This is the beat maker, not the beat taker. You know how I represent 10 fingers in the air. That's how I represent it. If you don't know, you better ask your mama or ask Akinyi with the good hair. Kahuna nywele, I know where you can borrow some. You know, that's how we're representing today. Yes, today's a wonderful day. As we're going through hip-hop, we're going through music, transitions, a lot of things have happened. The music that you've been hearing, I know a lot of people have been wondering about some of these artists that have been playing today on this show. One thing you need to understand is this, that that at Icon Radio, we're all about promoting Kenyan artists to the world. That's why I say Kenyan hip-hop to the world. You know, a lot of times I feel, and I have this with the production team that's here, we spend a lot of time promoting other people from other countries. And I'm like, it's not that I have a problem with other people from other countries. It's just like, yo, I'm Kenyan all the way 100%. And I feel like I've got to represent our own people. When I've gone to other places, different parts of the world, I always find that they represent their culture first before they represent other people's culture. And in Kenya, why I feel our music has been dying for a long time is because we're not taking that moment to bring up the people from our own culture, from our own Kenya. And we have so many different cultures in Kenya that are amazing. You hear about them all the time everywhere we go, from our food to the way we play our music to the way we dance. We have so many cultures that are out there that are wonderful. So here on Icon Radio, on the Vault, definitely we're representing for Kenyan music. Yeah, we might play a few records here and there, from out there, give props to those artists also. But you know what? Here we have to represent home-based. So today we are hearing one of the records that we played out was, of course, the OG himself. Now we're not talking about the OG from Kenya. We're talking about the main international OG, and that's DMX. And we heard Rough Riders, And I'll come back and talk a bit about DMX a bit later on. We had Vurusimbaya, Usi Give Up, And that's an awesome record because right now, even in our country, we're going through a lot of things. Every one of us personally goes through things, and you just feel like, you know what, I'm tired of this, it's too rough for me. But, you just got to know you can't give up, because tomorrow is a better day, I like what the Bible says because I'm a believer of the Bible. As a Christian, I believe in God, and so one thing that's important to me, it says pain and sorrow may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Joy definitely comes in the morning. And all the things that I've been through in life, I always know that God is real, and He's helped me through so many things that I didn't think I could come out of. So when Vurusimbaya is saying Usi Give Up, man, I can resonate with that. Trio Mio featuring Calligraph Jones, Zimeshika. Yeah, I know most of you know that record. Then there was Oxido featuring Alicia Lai, Kerosene. One thing I've got to give it up, whenever I meet Oxido and he's out there, he always seems to be like working hard and representing. I feel like he's one of the guys in Kenyan hip hop who's really working hard, and I've got to give him his flowers. Big up what you're doing, big up going out there. Whenever I meet him, he's out there pushing his records and everything, and that's how I think the future should be of our music scene here in Kenya. We've got to support each other. Then of course there's my boys 518 removing the tune Girl Anthem, dancehall hip hop, then there was Burning by Skylar Lorena. I'm happy to see a lot more women are coming out in hip hop and really doing their thing. Last week we had an interview here with Tulia, and she was talking about everything that she's gone through. Big up to Tulia, keeping the game alive, working hard, being out there. She talked about the pros and the cons of the industry, because definitely every industry has pros and cons, and you've just got to learn how to maneuver them. So today also we're celebrating we're celebrating about DMX, the life that he lived. Like a lot of people don't realize, unless you're a big follower of hip hop, the weight that DMX had and everything that he did for the culture to move forward. It's unfortunate that he's no longer, he passed away on the 9th of April 2021, but he left behind a legacy. If you listen to a lot of the music that he put out, he had a lot of hits that he put out in the industry, Gonna Give It To You. There was Party Up, there's Rough Riders Anthem, We Right Here, Where Your Hood At, Go to Sleep. He had records and records and records, and when you heard him rap, his voice, that growl in his voice stood out. I think when Rough Riders came out, he always had these dogs with him, not what we call, hey, where are my dog, but actually animal dogs. And I saw that when he started doing that, a lot of people, even back here in Kenya, started collecting more pets and everything. They were like, yeah, it was a swag thing in hip hop, And I remember, when you heard his voice on a record, you wouldn't forget it. But funny enough, I was checking out this documentary, and they were saying the one thing that DMX was not happy about was when he'd go sometimes to perform somewhere, and some people be like, yo, that was a really tight record that I heard you put out. It was awesome. Like, I love that record. And they would say it, and then he'd be like, yo, that's not me. That's Ja Rule, you know? And Ja Rule also had the same kind of voice like DMX, though some people feel like Ja Rule just copied DMX. That's an argument for another day. I have my own personal view about that, but it's like, I feel at the end of the day, DMX played a huge part, even though they put Rough Riders together and brought people like Eve on Rough Riders, you know? Like, I saw her interview talking about actually how she joined Rough Riders. People don't realize the producer was a young kid at that time. Swizz Beatz was about 16, 17 when they're doing those records, you know? And one thing was interesting, she said that she had to go to an area, I think it's in New York, called Yonkers, you know, and she had to like battle. She had to battle and there was only men there. She had to battle all the men to get into Rough Riders. So she became like the queen. And everywhere she goes, she'd be like the queen because she was the only lady on Rough Riders at that point. You know, so I feel like he played a big part in the hip hop culture. The unfortunate thing was his death. There's a lot of rumors around his death. People had their own view about it. Some were saying, oh, you know, the Illuminati came for him. There's all these stories about his life. We don't know, you know, we don't really know what really happened. I say God knows everything. So God knows what happened to him. He knows everything that went on in his life. But the positive thing is the music that he left behind. The legacy that he left behind, I feel, was the most important thing, you know, for him. And how people connected with him everywhere he went. If you see whenever he went to a place, people would come around. They would circle around him because he was that person that had a lot of love in his heart. Like he would love kids. He loved being around different kinds of people, you know. And that was a great thing. Unfortunately, in the day that we live in, the life that we live in, you know, they say you only have one life to live unless you are like maybe like Lazarus in the Bible, you know, but you only have one life to live. And the question is, how are you going to live your life? How are you going to make an impact in this on this earth, you know, through the music that you do? So even the artists that are coming right now, my encouragement would be like to really work hard on your music and put out positive music that people can resonate with, that will bring some remembrance when people think about you. You know, locally, some stuff has been happening locally, which I think is good also. As we know, Calligraph removed his album, The Book of Jones. Now, some people are like, what? Is this guy removing his own Bible, like his own testament? What is it exactly? There's been quite a bit of good reviews about it. You know, people feel like he put in the time to really do this record, you know. But there's one thing that people constantly, what we face in Kenya, a problem that we face, and the thing that we face in Kenya is what we call collaboration. At least he had a few collabos, you know, like, but they're asking, like the one thing artists face here that they have a problem with, either they have too many collaborations on their record or none at all. The problem that we face is a lot of times that we look at each other as competition. We don't really collaborate. We look at, like, if I'm going to be on a record with you, like, you know, I have to finish you off, you know, and I feel that's a negative thing, because why our industry is not growing to the maximum place that it needs to be is because artists are not coming together, especially in the hip hop culture. We need to do more to encourage each other musically. You know, we need to encourage each other and build up each other. But we have this, and I've said this before, we have this philosophy in Kenya, it's me first. You know, even you can see when you're driving on the road and maybe someone just comes behind you, wants to overtake you and knock you off the road, because they're just like, hey, it's me first, not you first, I have to come first. And I feel that unity is what is lacking. That's why the whole thing about the Volt Day I was asking is really, because I've been asked this question by several artists over the last coming weeks. They've asked me, where we are in the music, where we are in Kenya, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to be in music? Why are you doing it anyway? Some people grew up in families where maybe you want to do one thing, but your family wants you to do something else. You know, like it's a normal thing in the African culture where you say, hey, you know what, I want to get into music. And then they're like, you know what, why can't you be a doctor? Why can't you be a lawyer? You know, there's certain professions that people look up to and feel like if you have that. I've been in that position personally in my life. Not like when I started out, like my dad was a bit skeptical about like me doing music and everything. It took me some time to win him over, but finally I won him over. You know, it takes a long time, but you have to be persistent about it. But I know people have even been in that thing of where maybe they really want to be in a relationship with someone else, and maybe the person's a doctor and you have another field that you're doing in your life, and then the family look at it, is it really worth it being with that person because you're not even in the same field, and they won't bring you up. And so I ask myself all the time, in Africa, we look at things like lawyers and we look at doctors, engineers, and things like that. You know, like they're the main people who can make an influence in our culture. You know, and I was asking myself, who set that boundary? Who actually set that boundary to be in place that only they can do? So what if it was the artists were the number one and the doctors were last? Would it still have the same impact? You know, a lot of people can never really answer about that, you know, because we live in a society where people feel that for you to be great, you have to do things a certain way or be a certain kind of around a certain kind of people, you know. When I look at some of the other cultures in Africa that are music, for example, I was checking out this thing about Afrobeats, and at one point in their country, the government felt that Afrobeats was a waste of time. Like literally, they didn't want to have any association with it until it started bringing in some dollars. Then when it started bringing in some dollars, then guess what? Now it's being embraced. Now they love it, you know? Same thing happened with reggaeton. Reggaeton guys were seen as thugs outside. If you did reggaeton, you're like an outsider, you know? And it's taken some years, it took some years for it to grow to where it is, but it's because of consistency and being persistent. We face the same thing in Kenya right now. That's why I say, is it worth it? We face the same thing from our own government. Now, I'm not the most political guy out there. I have political views, but I'm not the most political guy out there who has a view about some of these things. But my view is that the government definitely is not doing anything for these artists. They're not bringing them up. They're not helping them at all. Like, if you're lucky, maybe you'll be called to perform at Arambe. You know, maybe you'll be called to perform there, you know. They see it as an artist as a by the way, not something of importance. You know, and if it is someone who they feel is important, it's because as in Kenya we have this phrase that we say, you have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone. Then you can be considered as someone like of importance. But this is an interesting thing. The youth, they always say the youth are the future. You always hear this wherever you go. The youth are the future of Kenya. Guess what? The youth of our country are so artistic. They're so blessed. God has blessed them massively. They can do things some of these old school guys can never do. They have a way of thinking that is massive, you know, that's important for Kenya moving forward right now as where we are. But you don't take them seriously. You don't look at them like they're people of importance. And that is the downfall of what we're facing. That's a downfall. And it's not just in hip-hop music, but it's generally in music in Kenya. And so a lot of artists are putting out records, but you never hear them. Another problem that we face in our country, and it may seem like when I'm talking today, I'm being a bit like negative on some things, but I'm putting out my tea. You can put out yours and say what you think. You go to Icon Radio on our website and say what you think. You go on our YouTube page, on the vote and say what you think. But this is my point of view. I feel also there's only, and this came up even last week when we had the interview to Leah. You know, one of the things that came up was there's only certain people who are already in the music scene, even right now in Kenya, who seem to have a voice. So I met a lot of artists who are like, why should I put even out a record? Why should I put out a single? I'm not going to get any airtime on it. No one's going to listen to me. It is going to be there. But guess what? That's why we're here at Icon Radio, to promote you. We're here to promote what you are doing. We're here to promote your voice and hear what you're saying. The whole thing about the Volt, and I've been asked this a lot of times, how did the concept of the Volt actually come up? The Volt was a concept that came up between me and Myra over here at Icon Radio, and she made a comment that, you know what, you've been in this game a long time, and you know a lot of stuff about the music industry, and you have a lot of that music. And I said, yes, I do. I still have a lot of Kenyan music till today, you know. And what we're doing, we're trying to strive to play it on this show right now. And we're like, let's put something called the Vault, bring in the music from the Vault. And at the same point, I looked at it and said, hey, you know, there's a new school artist and there's an old school artist. You know, the new school artists have this concept in their head. And I'm not going to fight with them about it, but they have this concept in their head, which I feel, to them, they feel like it's a valued point. And in their minds, in their head, in their thoughts, they say one thing. They say, you know what, these guys from back in the days, back in the golden era of hip hop in Kenya from the 90s, they feel that they know more. They don't want to hear what we have to say. The old school guys are like, these guys think they're it. Like, they can't take advice. They can't hear what anyone else has to say, you know. And so they're not willing to take our advice. They don't want to learn from us. Again, the younger guys are like, some of these artists back in the days, they got good deals, but they don't want to tell us how they got those deals, so how we can go and chase out for similar deals. And I'm thinking like, okay, so what are we going to do? How are we going to, as Icon Radio, as the Vote, how are we going to impact the hip-hop culture in Kenya? And the best way is bringing both minds together. So definitely the old school guys were there back in the days, me being one of them. We have our way of thinking. We have a way of attacking music. Even, for example, the way we produce music is a lot different. We come from that era where we were technical. We're very technical. From the time you go and do music, you're taught, okay, these are the keys of music. These are like the 12 keys. You need to learn how to play the 12 keys on piano. You know, you're taught technically. Everything was technical those days, you know. And so because it's technical, we have a certain way that we're like, okay, when we sing, let me hear those harmonies. Let me see how this part is going to be laced. So we're very technical. Now, the new generation of music, and not just hip-hop music, but music generally around the world and in Kenya, they have different ways of doing. Someone can just pick up their phone and be like, yo, I found this app. I can do this in 5 minutes. It's taking you forever to do this, you know. So they have a different way of looking at things. Now, is their way necessarily better? Now, people like me had to come to understand that their way is not necessarily a negative way. It's just their way, and we can pick up things from them. We can become creative. It's not nowadays. It's not just about working hard. It's about working smart, you know. And I always believe that there's some things that we can learn from the new generation of artists that are doing things that we would never do. For example, if right now a younger artist wants to promote music, you know, they have a different way of doing it than we would do it. And sometimes it's good to understand. Once you understand, that's where the knowledge comes from. That's when you can say it is worth it. You know, you'll never find me the beat maker. And I said this 1,000,001 times. You'll never find me doing a TikTok dance. Impossible. Maybe if Jesus comes down to earth today, that will happen. But, yo, you'll never find me doing one, say, let me go post it online. Now, I know a few guys my age that have done their version of TikTok dances, and I say, yo, bless up, that's you. That ain't me, you know. But, you know, I give you your flowers for that. But what do? I can work with younger guys who understand how to put that music out, you know, and they can come up with a strategy of how we can move music further. But then they'll come to me and they'll be like, yo, I need to produce this record. I know you have the ideas. I know you have the know-how how to make this happen. And I'll bring my skills in. So we're working together. There's not one that dominates another one, you know? And that's the one thing that we've got to realize. There's a person online that I usually check out quite a bit, like has good comments, was a reporter here, was a journalist in Kenya, at one point based in the UK. That's Mr. Josh Mosh Mushiri, and he actually did a review on the Book of Jones, of course by Calligraph Jones. One of the things that he ended up saying was he broke it down about his skills, what he thought. He thought it was good. It was moving Kenya forward. You know, he actually made a comment that in the international scene after BN, it's Calligraph who's repping out there, who people like was one of the top projects right now on iTunes, which is a positive thing. But he made a comment about one thing that is constantly talked about when it comes to Calligraph. That is called the fake English accent. Yo, I have a lot to say about that. I won't say all of it today, but let me say what he said. He said, there's nothing like that out there. That the Brits and Americans don't care about what the Africans call fake accents. They only get frustrated when they can't communicate with you. We Africans are the ones who see it as a fake. And he claims that the real talk from him. Well, usually I agree with quite a few things he says, but this one I don't agree with at all. Just like him who's lived in the UK, I've lived there, so I understand. He said that because of this record, people who are doing grime or drill or what will get on it and everything. But that's not always the case. I've also met a lot of people outside of this country who feel that who are Europeans and Americans who ask themselves, okay, what the heck is Calligraph trying to do? Like, they want to hear that Kenyan-based voice. They want to hear how we talk, you know. But Calligraph seems to want to be so Americanized for someone who didn't even grow up there. For some other people that I know, people that I'm linked to, people like us who grew up there, it's a different story. We can't get rid of it. If there's a way, it would be great to get rid of it, but we can't, you know. And the thing with him is, like, I feel like he wants to be that New York, so New Yorkin, you know, like he wants to be like talking like guys from the Bronx, you know. And a lot of guys say, okay, what the heck is this about, you know? Actually, I've told people several times I prefer Calligraph actually when he raps in Swahili and when he goes into Luo, you know. But if you talk to guys now in the Luo land, they have a different feel. They'll be like, oh man, he's winging too much Luo, like we're not feeling, he's not coming with the authentic. So I think there's always going to be an issue of how artists come across, and you can't make everyone happy. As I've said, in the music industry, there's three rules, you know, that I've come across in my own life, you know. And when I say three rules, not necessarily three rules, but it's three statements. Like, you find people that love you, you'll find people that hate you, and you'll find people who just don't care the heck about you. Now, you can't make all of them happy, no matter what you try to do, no matter how much. So just stop doing it and do you. So I feel like that is my point of view about Calligraph and how he comes across. But on the flip side, he has made that about him and how he feels comfortable, and so let him do him. That's what I say at the end of the day. If you feel comfortable and you feel this is you, then do you, you know, at the end of the day. And there's been so many discussions about not just him, but there was a thing about Otile saying that the, you know, artists from Kenya, we should not even be singing Swahili internationally out there on records. Like, we should just be singing in English. I totally like majorly, Otile, I disagree with you like crazy, man. Like, oh man, I'm just tripping here in the studio because I don't believe in that rubbish at all. I believe at the end of the day, we are Kenyan. How are we going to promote Kenya? By bringing Kenya to the world. We don't promote Kenya by being something else. believe it or not, we're not the only one who faces that issue about music in the world of music. For example, when you look at some of these Nigerian artists, they actually didn't grow up. Some of them didn't grow up in Nigeria. They grew up in America, you know. And when you hear them talk, they're talking with that accent, you know, because they grew up there. But guess what? When they're going to do interviews, they put on the Niger accent. They put up something else to sell them out there. But what we're doing here is now, when we're trying to go out there, we're trying to be like, let's put on that American accent. It doesn't help us to sell ourselves like that. People be like, it's not relevant. It may not be relevant to some people, but to some people it is relevant. And so music is a thing. Like, I don't believe there's a 100% answer to everything. Like, people come from different areas, different ways of doing things, and you just got to feel yourself as an artist and feel what works for you and feel how you're going to turn on what you turn on. But the thing is, you got to ask yourself one question, and I've constantly been asked this question: is it worth it? Now, for me, I feel it is worth it. That's why I've been doing it so many years, you know. And I feel like at the end of the day, if you can find your focus, if you can find how to put that music together, we can change this hip-hop sound in Kenya. We can bring new artists. I also feel that that some of the guys who have been there, like, who are actually known even right now in the industry, I feel that they need to open doors for new artists to come in. And that's one problem we also face in Kenya. We're not opening doors for each other, you know. We're about like, hey, it's all about me. Like, hey, and then you ask someone like, where would you hustle yangu? Like, you don't know where I've come from. You don't know everything I've been through. Okay, fine. We all have a story, man. Everyone who has a story. It's like people have this philosophy that if you grew up in a rich family, and I definitely did not grow up in a rich family, but if you grew up in a rich family, then you don't know my struggle. But a struggle for a rich person may be different from what you struggle with. You know, they're not all the same. You know, his thing is maybe you're trying to just get your next meal. Him, he's afraid of his company closing down. He doesn't know how he's gonna pay wages and but it's still his struggle. You know, and I feel that one of the biggest things is that we're not opening doorways for each other. You know, even if someone tells you, you know, I'm gonna help you out, they don't really stick to the word about helping you out, you know. And I feel at the end of the day, our industry is going to keep on going down, down, and down until we stop it. We'll be like, you know what, enough is enough. Let's uplift our own people. Let's uplift what we're doing. The amount of times I've been on social media and I see young artists put out records, and even before anyone has heard it, you hear people writing on comments, this album, you go down. And you're like, how is it down and you haven't heard it? What do you know about it? You know, so we've got to uplift each other, you know. And I'm always going to be a big advocate in Kenya and in Africans building up each other. If we're not building up each other in the music, like I was telling someone yesterday, I was telling them where Kenyan music is going and generally music in Africa is going. At one point, we won't need certain organizations because there was a discussion that happened some time ago, and it's been online quite a bit. They're like, what happened to someone like Naiboy? What happened to his music career? So it was a comment that was made that anytime anyone from around Africa signs up with a major record label, something negative happens. You know? I'm going to stop there and tell you what my philosophy is on it, you know? And we'll talk about this next. Let's hear some music. Let's hear some great Kenyan music on the Vault. So check us out on Icon Radio KE. You know, it's Kenyan hip hop to the world.
You might have to rewind. Yeah, twende Abbas Kubaf 2050. Yeah, na beats nya Iram MCs watakipata pata. Hizi ni maichi ichi dumba anga banga. Vile apasa na roganga, yani cheki. Yeah. Wacha ni wa spike kama Spanish fly kwa drink na ma punchlines. Saya lunchtime badala ketchup na fries. Rap King Solomon nina mawazo wise. Na teach about life, na talk about kuwa survivor na kustay alive kama wase wa fight. Si lazima ni rap about my thighs na madem na tights. Wase hupati ma weekendi haya za kite na mitungi za pints. Mina wa advise wasanii wa realize hamuja revise my lines, hamuja rhyme kwa rhyme kama steez ya mine. Me who spit hadi mic in a drip saliva. Niki dive ki India, siku swim na e-flow, niki freestyle stroke, e-beat katilapia. Wacha ni wa MCC ya blast na wabuma yeah. Na maanga banga za wakamba na kamba gasi ni madimanga sana manga. Maichi ichi dumba anga banga. Ichi dumba anga banga. Abasa bas maanga banga. Ichi dumba anga banga. Abasa bas. Okay, one by one, wacha to count. Ni wangapi muna account, zina amount. Chapa zina tosha tu go out na kuti knockout na magini stout baka muna blackout. Ulidunda juu ulikuwa hauna backup, ukakeyo kwa kapa ukiwa maspaghetti MCs ni ma impasters. Nataka nisikike mpaka da. Nilipush unit zangu za kwanza pre-unit street fights takisa na juu ya German suplex ndani ya Delphix. Ukijaribu kuflex na funk master. Ukiwa na beef usiniulize swali mboga. Mini full MC. Hata ningekuwa DJ hakuna MC ningeogopa. Na wale wa real wote na wabota. Jo tuko pamoja na maanga panga. Maichi dumba anga banga. Habasa bas maanga banga. Ichi dumba anga banga. Habasa bas maanga banga. Ichi dumba anga banga. Nimesha wabumba yeah.
Angalia sasa vile umefanya mtoto.
Alcom Zeya in a city KRK. Nairobi ni madondo na kisiwa naita Chingende. Nikikula na ugali wananiita Eva Limeye. Wanashangaa nikikula ndizi jona kisembe. Na ukiwa cheki wako njao na mwaga chindende. Sababu ya marasta wananiita miwazim. Eti nafaa kuwa pasta ama nikuwe mwalimu. When I started this shit wakateva niita cheesy. Lakini bono ninche bakoroke menta siku hizi. A small little Omoisio mbonya kundi amekuwa mzito. Na represent mecheo kama my people. In other words, West Kanyaga mahali niko. Asante Madam Lucy, I was born in Bosongo. Umekuja juicy, I was bred in Bosongo. I even had my first sex in Bosongo. Trust me when I die, I will rest in Bosongo. Respect watu wangu wa uko Nyanchwa car wash. Ukinitafuta niko Tugetacho. Hata mafala wanajua KRK ndio mafia. Endeleni na kizungu niachieni Russia. Bosongo wananiita New Jersey wananiita hata Dallas wananiita na Nyanchwa wananiita Bosongo wananiita New Jersey wananiita hata Dallas wananiita na Nyanchwa wananiita.
Alright, $1 million dreams back on the kebali meye. Addicted to the money back aboard the tabikeye. Me study poisonous back on the bahingitiye. Bosongo say to water jo mini pige kelele. Don't stop a nigga, my go and pop a nigga. Muna mauga mbatige bago itera mariga. Hakuna gas into say to dogo tumia maiga. The sunny water is a better version of Amariba. I'm a man, inchenka genda inkaro kama rapa wana boba kogera nagenda naroka. Ebari meye, na boy go back on dangeri. Lakini nano these niggas the guy go back on dageri. Hey yo small he bubu tiabo chaberi. Akileta mama motige pigiabo naderi. Wakileta noma itabida yo ndangeri. In a city KRK we here making history.
Bosongo wananiita New Jersey wananiita hata Dallas wananiita na Nyanchwa wananiita
stop hadi tufike to the top. Niite crazy, music is all I got. Who is it to stop? I'm kidding you not. We be crashing them all. Kubwa zunguka ina CDK yake bako teba chibari mechi.
Bosongo wananita Everybody meye. New Jersey wananita Everybody meye. Hata Dallas wananita Everybody meye. Nanyacho wananita Everybody meye. Bosongo wananita Everybody meye. New Jersey wananita Everybody meye. Hata Dallas wananita Everybody meye. Nanyacho wananita Everybody meye.
Uko ready kuni judge? Bona boy wa area lisare kwenda church, but hakuna mwenye anajua chenye na go through. Penye nalia solo na sina mtu wa kushare na mtu wa kugotu. Big sis ndio amelazwa na cancer, na mtoi bana amezaliwa na ugonjwa ina answer. Nisha give up. The same time na fight depression, the same time na fight addiction. Mtoi amezaliwa manze na ma complication. Wanna die it's complicated, hawezi complete kesho. The same time na fight addiction, the same time na fight depression. Big C zako hosi na ugonjwa ijulikani. Habongi na kuli amestick to kitandani, yeah. God usi give up on me, Dunisha give up on myself, yeah.
This is Icon Radio.
For real. Mbona nyinyi na wawasha nkikula nyama choma tu firifiri na taska. Bro amejituma ako kazini anaisaka, but anajua bibi yake anafanya nini Naivasha. Boy, akisi Kenya kuna content, nashindwa dunge chain gani so nazidunga zote. Anataka nwage ndani mimi na mwaga kwa matope. Si ubonga kilami tukitaka ganji itoke. Normally shembeteng mamoli kwa Henneken. Mwena me you're my friend, we got rich in the end. Tulimtupa kwa boots, si tulimtrace na magan. Kawamini tuko luzu lizda falling arm. Sini mabagla for sure na hisi siri. Bala klavo wezi njua kwa CCTV. Bro nikimwambia haski na yesi kiziwi. Kasibizu tanipata nimesare sikimbizi.
Nafaa kuenda nani zai Speed fulani shukopsa Kawasaki. Jeke masanse hawatutaki. Kaunitambui sikutambui.
Kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama. Wazingwa kona waps, kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama.
Gwara na waps wadhara ukikwara askari wa msitu giz ni kukimbiza maswara. After masjid masti ikilost isit wazing tunapiga baroda na kikwara. Tombo yoyoto mboya zilombo tosti zo mangoto 6 feet with deep ni vilali maro. Homeboys hapana taka mchezo atina hama tomboys bombo klat bato. Izagi baroda sarek ndipi tukishukizo masaa. Minus warazi tula adingi maombe. Taki news joe mheshimiwa kulendaje tena jama. Divide makazi zita msingi to the jobless. What about PCCBs? How about Gen Z? How about that? What about PCCBs? How about Gen Z? How about that? Kuna bahali nafaa kuenda nani zai Speed fulani shukopsa Kawasaki. Jeke masanse hawatutaki. Kaunitambui sikutambui.
Kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama. Wazingwa kona waps, kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama waps, kauna ngam nama.
Yo, tuna drip design tumekuwa maplamba. Tuna beef josta nikamtezana. Labda peace talk ama kofi kaya nana. Pigia skilo tuchukue maskanka za das. Mini pro kwa shit si ati na jigas. Kuna bro amejipindia AP na ngiwap. Mili yangu ya kwanza nilishikanga nikirap. Tuko wax chinda bees wera imetigeuza wasp. Moshi moja ya pili ya utat na una kuf kuf. Tuko holy masoja matrup na makruk kruk. Unangam ulidai hatuna kitu na una makali Kawasaki na graph yetu ina improve. Speed fulani Kawasaki nikikam through kama lightning. Tukijam niku strike tu kudigida warazi ndo kitu si udu.
Kuna bahali nafaa kwenda nani zai. Speed fulani shwaboksa Kawasaki. Jeke masanse hawatutaki. Ka unitambui sikutambui.
Skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa. Watinga kona wa, skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa. Watinga kona wa, skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa. Watinga kona wa, skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa, skauna ngam nama wa.
This is Icon Radio.
Yes. Yes. Na 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 na. Yes. Na 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 na. Hey yo. Na 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 na. Hey yo. Na 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 na. Hey yo. Na 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 na. Hey yo. They can't even sharama. Napotema fast. Unasikia utamu. All eyes on me. Utadhani Sean Paul make am shika kalam. Instrument ndani ya tabasamu. Stand for madem na kamna wicked slam. So when slow unapatikana. Nashikana na madem na mingana. Niko na matunjo kama kutawezana. Pambana na microphone kupigana. Naleta tai chi mimi natoka Bruce Lee. Natengeza legend ya wafalme weusi. Beta bomsi kizingo we bomsi. Tuna legalize paka slang za majusi. Hey yo, na 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 na. Hey yo, na 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 na. Hey yo, na 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 na. Hey yo, they can't even sharama. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing.
Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing.
Yeah, iko matingasi. Public anibanika tebela mnazi.
Hamna noma tebeza na ngogo mazi. Yutu zima hakuna utoto mazi.
Basi okujaza, pakaza. Tunywe mpaka che asiyeweza. Talaza, tumenguvuze. Okujaza, pakaza. Tunywe mpaka che asiyeweza. Talaza, tumenguvuze. Hey yo, na 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 na. Hey yo, na 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 na.
Zoom zoom zoom, zabadu zabadu. Shami kono juu, cheze ngoma makati. Zoom zoom zoom, zabadu zabadu. Shami kono juu, cheze ngoma makati.
Hey yo, na 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 na. Hey yo, they can't even sharama. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing.
Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. One, two, tunarusha mavitu. Dem tatu, kwa haina moshwa nyu. Leo paka kucha, tunajibusha, hakuna kushusha. Vichwa vibovu, note viki shede vichwa. Amuka na beat, bounce, bounce na beat. Tuko matinga si, tutazate sote hapa tuko jicho yanya. Kipenye mumba, na kipakeke ndani ya tabasamu. Nadhani yote munafahamu. Niko na simba kali, na kuruka sauti nije simba kali. Tusuge debe mpaka chezo ketu sherehe. Na vichwaji pia we tuleke. Leo mpaka moja gatende. Macho tobe wana vina zide memerika. Tazama wana voka atika.
Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing.
Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing.
Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing.
Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing. Sharama still bouncing, bouncing.
Sharama still bouncing, bouncing. Cannibal still bouncing, bouncing.
Bouncing. Bouncing.
This is Icon Radio.
Jackie, VIC, Esoteric, F.O.N.Z. Check F.O.N.Z. Okay, jina ni Victor na sijai kuwa kwa who smarter now. Naishi Eastlands unawetu ni hame we sahau. VIC na salute Eastlands kama karao. Home ground ya Shenga uskina ongea be different. Hauja notice mina Shimoli tuko na resemblance. Ukipata accident umegongwa tu na ambulance. Mbuyu wako most likely anaendeshanga ambulance. Ubest ni unstable kandege kona turbulence. Wacha nketa umenyanganywa simu via SMS. Malimanzi yako get ball juu ya SCX. Unamuliza uko na ball kwani ulikuwa World Cup. Ukienda kuona best jifanye kuna mix up. Halafu kipata sistake unamtoa top up chasa. Watu huku ni wengi pumwani kuna nduru non-stop. Kwa bus stop matriz na flota juja na jogoro. Portal julami siku hizi ni rap bro. Makauzi makarao walevi ni Eastland. Mahoka makonda madere ni Eastland. Ungaji mahasla wadosi ni Eastland. Makizi maoida walanguzi ni Eastland. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem, Eastland's anthem. Check anthem. Kumona madem 60 na maboy 35. Dinasikia mama wako more than 35. Saya jam nasikia 58 tunalipa 35. Panda 19C lakini before ifike 5. After that itabidi umetafuta 1960. Estoka Jerry ilijengwa 1960. Zingine kaa Savon za 1990. Utanipata jam rescue niko gauge na barabara haina jam. Burushope napiga nduru na sijali. Na kunywa Kenya King Urumani kasi kali. Niko na squad imevaa Sahara na satellite. Wengine ni waizi na kwa wana satellite. Maboy usiku wapendangi kuona street light. Maboy wenda tao daily na wananga booth light. Eastlands unajua karao before ende kiganjo. Alafu na maboy kango dhea kitambo. Makauzi makarao walevi ni Eastland. Mahoka makonda madere ni Eastland. Ungaji mahasla wadosi ni Eastland. Makizi maoida walanguzi ni Eastland. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Okay. Una oxygen panda 2-3 utapatiwa hewa. Jaribu kupanda 3-3 uone mali utapelekwa. Emba watoi wanaziliwa kawa wamelewa. Eastland City tunangoja tu kupewa mea. Hakuna gold digger huku mademu wanataka silver. Weni mjinga ukipata mbuyu wako anashiva. Ufikire ni msik please ni vila memistanga kwa liver. Majirani kwa story yako kaa shadow. Ukisikia unasifio ujue tu ni vako. Utapata stampede kwa birthday party. Ukipata manzi ni bajo you're so lucky. Ndom kwa system kuliko skeleton ya Bob Marley. Baesa ni mingi na kuna ile inauza pale. Mbuyu amekonda na watoi wana vitambi. Hata Miss Eastlands huku ana kitambi. Uliza maboyo wangu wakali sisi hatuhami. Makauzi makarao walevi ni Eastland. Mahoka makonda madere ni Eastland. Ungaji mahasla wadosi ni Eastland. Makizi maoida walanguzi ni Eastland. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Makauzi makarao walevi ni Eastland. Mahoka makonda madere ni Eastland. Ungaji mahasla wadosi ni Eastland. Makizi maoida walanguzi ni Eastland. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem. Eastland's anthem. Ini anthem.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I hope you heard that. Once again, we're back on the vault. This is the Beatmaker, not the Beat Taker. 10 fingers in the air. Let me say it again. 10 fingers, not 5 fingers. 10 fingers in the air. That's how I present today on the vault. It's the Beatmaker, not the Beat Taker. You know, we're listening once again. I said it. I told you before we went for the break. It's Kenyan hip-hop all the way. Kenyan hip-hop. If you go to my social media page, you'll see that I've written hashtag Kenyan hip-hop to the world. The world needs to hear this Kenyan hip-hop. We have our own stories. We have our own ways of looking at music. We have our own way of giving what we go through so the rest of the world can know about it. So the last track we played was Walanguzi, Eastland's Anthem. Eastland's Anthem. Hiyo ni anthem. It's Eastland's anthem. Cannibal and Sharama also bouncing and wakadinali sikutambui. They say that there's a quote. They say that hip hop, apparently, I didn't say it, but they said in Kenya, hip hop began and will end in Eastlands. Well, I think that's a misconception to some people, because actually a lot of guys who did hip hop in the early days didn't come from Eastlands. They came from other areas. Eastlands started picking up, and you have guys later on. You have guys from Dandora, you have the Mau Mau, Kuflani Mau Mau, who came and represented. You had other people. And I remember there's a huge discussion once with another artist, like, oh, you guys from Ukoflani, you feel that you own hip hop in Kenya. And I'm just thinking, like, that was too much of beef going on for me. The only beef I like is the one in my plate. All this other stuff that goes on, I don't need it, And so we got to understand, like, a lot of times, like, yes, it seems like guys from Eastlands are putting in a lot of time into their records. They're putting in their stories about what they go through. But by the way, hip-hop is not just Nairobi, I've been to Narok, I've seen, like, crazy hip-hoppers, the Maasai community over there doing hip-hop, and they're dropping hard gems out there, There's people in Kisumu that are also doing their own, There's people in Kikuyu who are doing their own, And so it's like there's a lot that's going on. I just feel that certain places in Kenya get more props than others. When it comes to hip-hop, it's definitely Nairobi that gets a lot. But I was explaining to someone the other day that in around 1997, in this country of ours, in Nairobi, the guys who had the most hits in Nairobi on radio stations and used to get a lot of shows were not artists from Nairobi. They were actually artists from Mombasa. They were taking over like crazy. Yes, that just shows you how long I've been in this game. I'm an old guy in this game, but there's a lot of artists who are taking over the industry, and they're coming from the coast. They're basically coming and taking, like, no bars holding. They were doing their thing. And so I feel like this place where we're at musically, you can be the best that you want to be. Hip-hop is great. I've been in hip-hop for years, in the culture. I've been in the art form, in the music. And one thing that always captivated me was, first of all, when that beat hits you, you just be like, yo. They say that everyone in hip-hop has that face for hip-hop. When the beat hits you, just find yourself, man, grunting that face and be like, hey, yeah, let me kick my best rhyme. So it's like, at the end of the day, when we hear the new artists that are coming out right now in Kenya and how they're putting their music out there, let me tell you, they're dropping a lot of good stuff, So if you guys are out there and you haven't heard the music, you're lucky, because it's on Icon Radio, Go have a listen to it. You can go look for their social media handles, check out what they're doing, and become fans of their music, become lovers of their music. I find it sometimes disorienting, and I find it a bit down a lot of times when people are like, oh, so and so artist, Thames is dropping her new album, or so and so is dropping their new album, and you get so excited. But when someone locally says, hey, they're dropping their album, and in your mind you just think, you just want to go to sleep, because you think that it's going to be terrible, yet it's not. Go and listen to people's records. If you have a point of opinion, speak them once you've heard the record, but don't speak it before you've heard the record, because there's always something great in every musical artist around the world. There's a lot of greatness in Kenya over here, and I'm always going to be one of the big I'm going to be an advocate for that. Like, we need to promote our own. We really need to promote our own. It's a shame for me that a lot of times that we as Kenyans are only promoted when it comes to specific things to do with Kenya. Like, when it comes to athletics, like, whether people talk about it or not, like, even when you go to the Olympics, that Kenya is a threat, especially long distance running. That we're a threat. So automatically, even the people who are running against Kenya, they're like, they want to run against them, because they know if they can defeat Kenya, they have something to say. Don't you feel the same thing should be in our music? That when people when people actually listen to our music, they feel like Kenya has it. They have what they're doing, they're doing something great, And even before the break, we were talking about some of these Kenyan artists. There's a quote that was made that when any artist in Africa sign on to these big record labels, whether it's Universal, Sony, whatever record labels out there, those international, what they call international record labels, that their careers usually seem to die out. And a good example was Naiboy. What happened to Naiboy? Originally people forget, but Naiboy was called Rapdamu. He was straight up hip hop all the way. If there was a guy who was like trying to get the hip hop thing moving with his music, he was definitely trying to do it. But he really wasn't getting a breakthrough through the rap scene, with the music he was putting out. Till he became Naiboy, Nairobi boy, and then he changed his whole sound. It became more singing and people seemed to resonate with him. He had a huge record out, like 2-in-1, that became like massive, But then he got a deal with a major record label, and it's like his career went dead. It died in the sand, And a lot of people were wondering what happened. Then he moved a comment online and said that it's like he has all these songs, but it's like the record label doesn't want to release them. In short, if I look at it from my point of view, it looked like he was saying that they're killing his music career, And even after this went on and he no longer was on that contract with them, he said that he had about 800 songs, and these were all unreleased. And so when he's no longer that record label, people are asking, so why didn't you release them now? He tried to release a few. He got some good numbers, but it's not like how his numbers were great, And all of a sudden, people who were your greatest fans, all of a sudden they're like, yo, does he really have it anymore? And that's a normal thing that we do over here. We do here in Kenya. We start to question like whether someone really has it. Sometimes people don't realize a record may be great, it may be awesome. It's just the wrong timing for that record. Now, how do you decide if the timing is right to drop a record? It's a wrong time. That is a thing. Like, I don't believe there's a real answer to that question, because everything is about trial and error. Everything in the music industry is about trial and error. One time you may have a record and it resonates with people and they're going crazy over it. Then they're like, let's do a follow-up. And then the follow-up isn't that great. The same questions people had when Lauryn Hill dropped Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And then later on, she came and dropped her follow-up record, which she claimed later on that she didn't really even want to drop it. The record that she wanted to take time to put together her album, but the record label were like, no, you've got to drop it now. We've got to have follow-up to Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So what did she do? She just went and did something. It was more guitar-based and didn't really, in fact, people were like, is this really her? This can't be her. No, this album doesn't sound like... And there's always that thing where people are going to question you and ask, is it really what you're dropping? Is it really worth it? Is it hot enough, And so someone like Naiboy, when his music was dropped, actually I can't remember the last time I heard about him. After he came out of that record label, people already assumed that he'd come back to being that, because he was saying that the record label was stalling him, So first of all, let's understand like how record labels, what is actually their job? Because this question has been asked a lot of time. And let me break it down to you in a simple nutshell so you can understand what record labels do, what their job is. In simple English, their job is to invest in the artist, financially, and also, help do the promotion, help to put you basically out there in the market. That's their job, and that's what they're about to do. Now, if that's their job, people ask, then how come, like, some artists, their records never come out? Sometimes when labels are operating, they may feel that this particular record isn't the greatest record to come out at this particular time. Then you find time has gone on so far that at the end of the day, they're still asking themselves, is it worth it? You know, of course, the artist who's the creative is getting upset because they're feeling like they're doing what they're supposed to do, but the music is not coming out. But a lot of times, it's not just about recording music and putting it out there. You know, a lot of times labels have to decide, like financially, is it going to make sense at this particular point to put out the music? Now, they can put out the music, but a lot of times what I've seen in the music industry is these labels just put out music and it doesn't work. And so what happens? The artists and the managers blame the label blames the artists for not working as hard as they should have, and there's this tag and tag game coming up. Hence, when I came back and asked, is it worth it? Is it worth it to be in the music industry? And I had this discussion the other day with another producer friend of mine that I know, and we were talking about it. And one point that he said, because he was giving me a story about this young producer that he met up. He was working out in the gym. Then there's this young producer who had seen some of his stuff, and he was talking to him. He's like, hey, like this music thing is seeming like it's a bit hard. I feel like giving up. And my friend's response just made me feel like some people think that sometimes I can be harsh, but he was just straight up like cold crush on him. He's just like, then give up. Stop. Don't do it. If you don't know why you're doing something, why the heck are you involved in it? And he was saying to me, you know, first of all, people need to understand, before the business of music, before anything, you know, music is an art. You know, once you understand that music is an art, you understand how to promote yourself out there. But right now we're in a society where it's purely about like, how much money can I make? And if we looked at the artists over the years, even our Kenyan legends, like, ask yourself where they went to. Like the likes of Hardstone, who changed the game, by the way, with Uhiki. You know, where is he? Of course, we know where he is. He's in America. But what happened, you know, to him? The likes of Masimaira, who are out there. What happened to her? Recently, I saw guys going ham online about Victoria Kimani. You know, they felt like, oh, she's not relevant enough from Kenya. She just seems like a light-skinned chick, you know. And the thing is, we're always crucifying our artists. When do we stop and ask ourselves, what do we need to do to encourage them for them to get to where they need to be? You know, for the longest time, no one had seen or heard about Kalamashaka. Okay, we understand that, you know, Kamau was abroad. He was not around. Vigeti was in rehab. Otero was also doing his own thing. You know, so guys were like, and these are the guys that they say in Kenya, if there's a group that crafted, they say crafted, well, let me read that, crafted Kenyan hip-hop, it was Kalamashaka. Some people may disagree because there were even rap crews there before them, you know. But when they came out with Tafsiri, let's be honest, through Ted Josiah, they changed the game. They changed the game with that one record that led to other records. By the time you hear Fanya Mambo and other stuff, you know, that's later on. But Tafsiri was the joint, and I was there around that time they were performing, because I was with my crew, we were also performing, and I see when they go and perform, they had this, it was kind of like, you know, it was hip-hop, but it was kind of up-tempo. I remember back in the days, like when Ted produced it, there used to be this scratch that he put on that record. It's called they used to call it a butterfly scratch. It goes chicka chicka chuk, you know, then you Tafsiri, you know, that's how it used to go, you know. So people used to go crazy when they hear that scratch, you know, and they felt like this is normal local dialect that we can connect with, you know. And so that's why it's known as one of the golden eras of hip hop, you know. People also ask themselves, these guys disappeared for years and now they're trying to make a comeback. So what do we do with the people who have been there from before? Do we encourage them? Do we look at the records? Do we look at the current artists who are doing stuff, and do we encourage them? Now, just be straight up with you, because the Beatmekah, I don't lie about records. I say what I feel about records. Everyone has their own point of view about artists and records. This is my point of view. The problem why most of the artists we don't hear about them is because some of them moved on to other things that they felt that they needed to do because they were not making money off these records they're putting out. That's the honest truth. Some of them felt it wasn't worth it, but some of the old school artists right now who are in different parts of the world are bitter. They're bitter because they felt they should have been treated way better by the industry. It's like the same story with the Mau freedom fighters, where they feel like they've been like, basically the government has forgotten about them, you know. Even just get a blanket is a problem, you know. So this how these artists feel, you know. And the thing is, if we don't change the way we operate right now in 2025 going forward, then you know what's going to happen? We're still going to have more artists dropping out that could have been talented, that could have made careers, that could have elevated even this country to the status it needs to be. But no, we're not doing that. We're embracing other countries. We're embracing what other people are doing and thinking that is great, you know. We're thinking like, let's embrace these other people. And we spend so much time going on social media. One of the reasons why Nigerians, in case you don't know, one of the reasons why they love Kenya so much is because Kenyans are always pushing their music. Actually, this is one of the countries why Afrobeat is known so much in the world, because Kenyans are great at getting online and pushing brands, pushing other things, but we're not pushing our own. You know, it's got to be worth it. We've got to be in a place where we stop crucifying each other. We've got to get to a place where we know how to market our own music for home. You know, like one of the things is, a lot of times people ask me, so like we need to look at different ways of marketing music, yeah? One of the things that you're told when you want to market your music, you got to learn, you got to utilize social media, marketing platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, you know. But a lot of people are on that page, but they're really not pushing their brands the way they need to be, you know. Another thing that we need to do more in Kenya is collaborate with influencers or other artists. You know, we have a lot of influencers, right? Like in the last couple of years, almost everyone I knew who did another job, when you ask them what they do right now, they say they're an influencer. I think half of the guys I meet are influencers right now, you know. So we need to use influencers to get our products, our brands out there. That's how more of our music will get known. Because it's funny that some of these influencers, they're really pushing other brands from other countries, you know. We talk about so much. I think the last time that we really came together and we were talking a lot about Kenyan music, like majorly, was probably when people saw how Bien was rocking. Apart from that, there was this festival which came up, which was like, you know, everyone knows about the Willie Paul saga, came up with Diamond, and that's what people were talking about that, you know, which proves a point that we love to talk. We love to go out there and talk. But now what we need to do is we need to go out there and push for each other, not just talk about each other, you know. Then we need to submit more music to playlists and blogs. There's so many bloggers. I told Josh is out there. Well, there's another blogger that I know, Blogger Flani, who's out there really representing for a lot of Kenyan artists out there, you know, loving what he does, you know, putting people's names out there, talking about how they're putting their music out there, you know, getting it rated. You know, a good example of an artist that was there back in the days also and was killing it, but went through problems, and then immediately went through problems, people started crucifying him, you know. That is Abbas Kubaf, Doobies, you know, to a point that even people felt on the Kali Cartel 5 that his verse, some people, they were like, oh man, he's the one guy who killed it. But there's a lot of guys said that it was average. Now, my point of view, yes, I felt he could have done better, you know, from what I know how he was. I remember when they were coming out with K-South Flavor, you know, him and Bamboo, and they're doing their things. That's a different Doobies, you know, when you listen to his flow. But again, we have taken the years have gone by, and he's been through a lot, you know. So he's not gonna always rap the way he used to rap, you know, because time has taken over. You know, right now He's trying to get back. So other people are enthusiastic because they know he's been going through challenges, and they see him out there, still trying to put the effort in. And I think the more that we encourage those artists from the past and we encourage artists that are from the present, that's how music will be worth it in Kenya. So we also got to ask ourselves, why is social media so important for an artist's career? Like, is it really important? Because a lot of the guys from the past generation, yeah, they're on social media, but they feel that it's not really more important for them than being directly with someone. Because we come from, even my era, we come from that era where you go out there and you're talking to people directly. You're not talking through an app. Yeah, you're definitely talking to people directly. You're performing for people directly. Nowadays, there's pros and cons of social media. One of the pros about social media is you can get out there at one point and people around the world can know who the heck you are. They can listen to your music, they can download. Like that, if you're in Africa back in the days and you wanted someone to hear your music, like literally, you'd have to maybe talk to an agent or a manager there. You'd have to ship your CD over there or something. It would be a whole process, and you didn't even know what the reaction would be, So what social media does for an artist's career, it also it allows us for direct interaction, with fans, direct, like there is no middleman, unless some people try to intervene there, but there is no middleman. You have direct interaction. You can get immediate reactions if you're lucky. People that can tell you back what it sounds like. Your fans, will be able to follow following because you're already out there on social media, and it's easier to do promotions. You don't necessarily have to be in a particular place for you to do a promotion. I know artists, especially time of COVID, what happened was they would have listening parties that were purely online around the world. So they sent out a link and people could listen to it at the same time, online. It was a live link, and so that's the positive side. The negative side is that sometimes you can dwell on something so much, on that technology, that you as a performing artist, you stop being a good performing artist because you're relying on something. People never see you perform. Like in the case, there was this whole discussion about this artist Sophia Nzao, where people were talking about her, and they've been like the record that she did, Mwaki, was an awesome record, but people said we never really see this lady perform. And if you see anything, it's always on social media. It's never like physically, and so sometimes you can rely on it. Yeah, I have 10 million people checking me out, doing this and doing that, but you're not having that direct interaction with them that you need, like physically in a place, and so that holds you back. And so I feel like when we look at Kenya and where we're going right now, one of the things that I want to emphasize on is hip-hop is definitely growing in Kenya, but it's not growing at the levels that it needs to. And it's not that it can't grow at those levels. It's just that we need to go out there and improve upon it. We as the listeners, as the fan bases, we need to listen and we need to hear what other people are saying, but at the same time we need to go and push our own. So one thing that we're always going to do here on Icon Radio, one thing that is going to be always consistent, is we're going to push these Kenyan artists to the world. We're going to put them out there. I saw the other day in some of these other countries like Ghana and these other places, they're having what they call these gatekeepers who are like, yo, we're going to take so many artists from here and we're going to push them heavily. We need to actually look at that in Kenya. But the thing is, the problem with when an idea like that comes up, what happens is we look at certain artists that are well known, and that's all we're ever going to do. All we're ever going to do is push you if you're known. But what happens if you're a young emerging artist coming up and you're working hard, you're doing what you need to do, but you're not getting the mileage because you can't get through some doors? So what happens is we need to come together, the whole village, the whole community, we need to come together and uplift these artists and figure out a way how to help them to get out there. Because let me tell you, like, this thing, we can tackle it. And we're coming to a place in Kenya where we are right now that I actually believe we're going to get to a place where we're not going to need these major record labels, these international record labels, because we'll have so much capability within what we're doing at home that we can control how we do things, you know. If we look at the way Africa is right now, like I think I was checking out this thing the other day. I think it's in Namibia or somewhere where the lady president over there was saying that now she's not gonna allow like Americans need a visa. Before it was just like they could come in the country, they didn't need a visa. Now they need a visa to get in there, because you know they do a lot of drilling over there for diamonds and other things like that. You know, it's a well-known place. And she said she's gonna operate the way Trump does. You know, the way Trump has put these restrictions on Africa. But it's very interesting that a lot of these so-called stuff that's needed around the world, like in Europe and America, actually comes from Africa. You know, all these resources come from Africa. So guess what? I also believe that we have the best music. You know, we have the best guys who can put out music over here that come from Africa. But the thing is, we're once again relying so much on foreigners, and some people would call it a slavery mentality, that we need certain people to survive. And that slavery mentality locks you down, where you feel like, and we've seen it all over Africa, that certain cultures when they come in, or white people when they come in, people literally become like, they feel that they need these kind of people to survive, you know. But the thing is, every person in the world was created by God, and they were created for a purpose. And within that purpose, you know, God is one that can help you excel. But once you rely on a certain human being, that they're the only ones that can help you excel, then you're always going to fail. And so I believe there's going to come a time where Africa will, as a whole, will be great, where we don't need certain organizations to survive, but we need to look within ourselves. And because we're in Kenya, let's start with home. Let's start with what's great at home. Let's look at the talent that we have right now. I'm telling you, whenever you walk in town, you'll see people on the street corner singing. And you'll hear them harmonizing in key and doing all these great things, you know. But we don't look at them. We look at other nations, and we feel other nations are better. You have to understand, even with those other nations, when they started doing what they did, they had nothing. They literally had nothing, and they had to build up from ground level. So Kenya, let's build up our artists that we have over here. Let's build up our creatives. Let's build up our influencers. Let's build up our bloggers. Let's build up the whole scene. That's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be worth it, you know. And the artists from the past, a lot of them are languishing in a lot of stress, you know, mental issues, because they feel they were forgotten. Let's also uplift them. That's where now the young guys and the older guys come together. So here on The Vault, it's been great being with you today. It's been great sharing my insights about you. It's always hip-hop with me, you know. I love hip-hop, keeping it true, keeping the Kenyan hip-hop all the way, you know, 10 fingers in the air. Props to all the guys who are out there doing their thing, both to the women and the men who are out there. There's a lot of great women who are bringing out great records out there. In the next coming weeks, like, I'll take you through some of the records that I've actually done my own research on that are coming out of Kenya and what's great about them. And you get to hear that music, you get to hear what they're doing. And please, like, go out and check out the links. Check out for these people. Check out what they're doing, you know. Check out where you can even download them. Get in contact with them. Write on their pages. Send them comments, you know. Uplift them. That's what we need. We need upliftment right now in music. And especially where Kenya is going right now. We need to uplift each other right now. There's so many things that are happening right now in Kenya. There's both good and bad things that are happening. But, you know, music is the positive ground, is the peaceful ground that we need. And if we can do that, you know, everything will be great. So you know what we say here at Icon Radio. It's been a blessed time having with you. Shout out to all the people who have been listening online. Continue listening to the Beatmekah. You know, once again, remember, you got to remember that hip-hop and the culture are love. And love is great. All of us love to be loved. All of us love to give out love. So let's give out love to each other. Let's give out to our music scene. Let's give out love to Kenya. And guess what? You know what? Everything's going to be great. Till next time, shout out. Stay blessed.
Yeah. Kumanga madregi that Mshahara imefanya aftermath kwa shady. Kulangeni vibari ndio mseme kama wamego crazy. Amkangeni ngwari kulala ni kazi ya kudeti. Funga breaki kwanza shika kiti keti kabla nikupe kipaza seti keti. On your mark, super ready, cop when it's leggy, cop when it's easy fish. I'm a jessie reggae dog. Wanna be them, begin the Bentley, cause I see them. Trying to be me on TV. I see him see a kijaribu city, na trust he. The KTN, na crime news, na carefully watch me. Itabidi my MC kuhama, cause no one can touch this. Can't see, cop the mic na pen, unlock my ATM, say amen, amen. Atulikuanga wapi? Constantly kwenye kona. Atulikuanga wapi? Constantly kwenye kona. Na kina nani? Na squad ya watu 12. Na kina nani? Na squad ya watu 12.
Kondole macho weni beach kama Condoleezza Rice. Takuaje ngumu kulipwa after madeni kilipa ikijipa through. The thanks sativa message nili deliver through. I think kwa bibi yako ukiapia kwa Ice Cube. Last Friday na rap people through single hili Kenyan Meka people. So keep the distance ka Mr. Ohingo. Juu kwa hii marathon mini kichoge na weni kino kichoge. Day in day out na hang out na wase wame pass out without any kwa head. Yes. Nilipigwa bed, nilichimba kisima uliza Ted Ted yuko dead, come ni kushow grave.
Kwenye kona, atulipanga wapi? Constantly kwenye kona. Uko flani constantly kwenye kona.
Brave enough to snatch bling off the neck ya president. The spare bamboo though, jwali get saved. Nilikuwa na thoughts jingi za kukall Mr. Jiggy Jiggy. Tufanye song inaitwa Hallelujah, lyrical Biblia. Messiah for hire, spit out fire. Drink Medusa, nusa unga. Liacha maji kigokota, by the time nirudi nitakuwa nimeosa. Oboho, kwa kila music festival. Na hii ni wo, shinda panya ko. But hangu nisikiza to, nigumu kupenya bila kunisikiza. Skiza jo, ya otero iki open. Hamna mtu righteous ama vipi bro. Nishaona rasta anakula nyama kama ni kushow. Ni show, slits kwa skata zikunizangi ndani ya church. Niambie vizuri juu ni payback. Poke zita grow fat. Hoko
kwenye kona. Constantly kwenye kona. Na squad ya watu 12. Na squad ya watu 12. Constantly kwenye kona. Constantly kwenye kona. Na squad ya watu 12. Na squad ya watu 12.
Hoko
Hini barua yako mama, muda mrefu tangu sisi hatujaonana. Kikufikiria machozi waya nani bana. Hope hivi karibuni si tutagogana. Wallahi hata mimi sijui nitakupea nini. Wewe ni zaidi mwanaume kunilea mimi. Shida zote nimepitia umenekea msingi. Na vile maboys maitwezo kubebea mpini. Umeditama nule mwanaume niko sai. Alhamdulillah asubuhi haiko chai. Shukuru Mungu kwa kunipa mtu kaa wewe. Ulinigari kaa vifaranga kumejaa mwewe. Fadhali tukule ndo ulale njaa. Wakati buda na kunywa tu mabale ba. Though maisha ya mtu enda kapagawa. Sijali mama mtoto wako wako sawa.
Hakuna kama wewe. Na yote ulotenda. Yani yote mama. Nakukumbuka wewe. Wanao nakupenda.
Mtoto wako amekuwa, tushukuru Mungu juu hapo ungejua. Taka tu kunipeana baada giza tu siku mpya imeanza. Wanaeneza uvumi kunuhusu mimi majuda seskari utotaka kunibusu zi. Sema eti mimi nimepotea, isa nashindwa eti lini tatokea. Shenitafuta sana nimelost ya maeneo ninavuta prama. Mama ishaenda haywire, siku hizi binadaga ende kila day mbaya. Najaribu tu kumaintain, kula maswala ndoto mini stay sane. Serikali kwa kesi yangu nani KHS, shindo form the gani.
Hakuna kama wewe na yote ulotenda. Mama, nakukumbuka wewe, mwanao nakupenda.
Mama, siku hizi wamekuwa wanyama, kila saa si wale tulikuwa najua jana. By the way nakumiss tu, shisha na kutumia makistru. Anashindwa takuona lini, chakuwa mkubwa anasoma msingi ana miss nyanya yake, hata kaba make alidis baba yake. Mambo si sawa, ili kitu inaharibu mtoto wako ni dawa. Sema kweli mimi na regret, juu najua zae mimi nafaa kulive great. Ni wengi tuko nao RP watu wako kwao. Naomba Allah anisamee, aniepushe na msala kila tarehe.
Hakuna kama wewe na yote ulotenda. Mama, nakukumbuka wewe, mwanao nakupenda. Mama, 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 hakuna kama wewe, tutaonana tena.
This is Icon Radio.
Si wote ni wafungwa. Si kila mtu uiba uponea. Si kila mtu uiba uponea. Si kila dem msupu uolewa. Na si kila mtu mpua udoea.
Shuku macho zina kuangalia, shuku mikono zina kusalimia, zimetoka wapi? Shuku barua unaandikiwa bila address, na pesa unapewa ovyo ovyo, utalipa na damu. Chuki ndo inafichwa na salam, guza pesa na jina chunga, usipatwe na bibi ya msee. Position mbaya, unaunganisha waya ya stima na maji. MC anatumia solar energy, hakuna msee ako na allergy ya pesa. Wanasiasa wananitaka mi kwa maambulance au kwa Mercedes Benz, ma 230 systems za multiparty zituvute katikati kama ya Tango 4. Ipi ndio refu, ni mkono ya law ama ya wezi? Masikio zinapokea frequency ya senti, kazi na gongana, socks zinachomolewa ka umevandula nguo ka haijaka uka radio ka inaimba sembe ka haijaiva ka uko kwa bafu. Kafu ya mwanamume baisa tatu asikose kwa bar. Polygamy bibi wa kwanza pombe, tamaza tumbo na kimwili. 80% ya akili ya mwanamume ni kwa pesa na kwa opposite sex. Ndio maana hapa ezi ishawezi na malaya wale kesho wataitwa mama, ndio ma sex worker. Ma pickpocket tukiwaka ndio pesa zinapotelea in the thin air. Kashimoli kwa high court, pesa ndio power, pesa ndio inagawa family, bona na bibi ndio inagawa society nzima, maskini na matajiri. Pesa, pombe, siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wauane. Pesa, pombe, siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wazunguke. Pesa, pombe, siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wauane. Pesa, pombe, siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wazunguke.
watu wengine wanahubiri maji lakini wanakunywa vinywaji tofauti. Ghost names kwa listi yako ya mshahara, nikiando biashara na angusha kivairo amsha kiviagra na dasara. Waduki meni kwa dozi sigara, je urembo natural, msichana anaharibiwa akiwa mdogo ra. Nina feeling kani tendele kuishi nitakuwa mdosi na unasenya kihara. Uso inaonyesha mafikira, harufu ya chwara kwa secret admire. Na Kenya ya miraa, furaha kwa forwardings and funeral. Kika yote na kwa constructive na temi yangu juu hakuna job. Mambo yote yako ya privacy ya nengilo na press kimildona obote. Unafukuzwa kwenu, hakuna uzuri kwote. Nurudi twende Afrika mukunzi, simavalia masuti mamwanda ni ya briefcase. Nikitaka kujua ka economy imeharibika na angalia price ya na makota kwa butchery. Bado sina upendo kwa polisi, bado brother hawezi umanjaro.
Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wauane. Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wazunguke. Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wauane. Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wazunguke. Kifo ndio IG utoto na uzee, sel ndio watalala minister na chokosh. Gun ndio IG ka umejaa au umekonda. Kifo ni moja, shida ni kuingoja. Nani ndio nani? Maabusu wamevaa nyeupe vienjo, mapasta wamevaa nyeusi videvo, maconmen wameekelea sura za wasamaria wema. Pasta kwa hema anaponya vipofu na viwete, wanaona na wanatembea. Actually aliwahaya kaa kando na siasa, kupindua akili ya mjinga nika kupindua upside down. Nini talk of the town kasi pesa pombe na wanawake nami kote ya watu wa mtaani wezi, kote ya wafanyikazi wa bank ni wezi. Walichora kila kitu kwa map, tunaongozwa na pesa na saa ndo tunaiva kwa makaa, inaochwa na wanasiasa. Nina maswali ayananga answer, tulichagua mea ama night where you are worship. City imeturn yellow juu ya makojo, sewage zimetoboka, barabara mbaya mbaya, taka za hotel kubwa kubwa zinatupwa kwa slums, na guns za makarao zinatoa chuma badala ya raba za riots. Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wauane. Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wazunguke. Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wauane. Pesa pombe siasa na wanawake zitafanya wanaume wazunguke.
Mashimoli wao nao vadzis na boy Hitman pasta na we mnapenda pesa. Sa naishi leo nika hakuna kesho. Kwa marafiki kuna wasaliti, history ni kaya dema kilose virginity. Kuru wakitafuta Mr. Right, pongezi wa violence kwa robbery. Madet za kisiri, masiri zinakuwepo hatari, alafu inakulipata attack ama accident ya gari. Deputy anafurahia kuinherit, unasifu ulikuwa mpo kisha dedi. Kila ndurudu unaspendi, kaa unipendi sikupendi. Masiku za wiki kwetu ni weekendi, tuna commit sins zina annoy the devil. Kila level ya kesi kibilio, tukopata kwa hizi controversy na kuchukua to your wildest fantasy. Siwezi ishi bila radio, bla bla bla. Wow, mwanamke akiwa manga mrudishe kwao. Na represent wa Afrika wapenda nao, hawakusani kwa barabara, lakini unafanya maajabu wakiwa peke yao. Sa tutalanja au tutaiba, sa manakuja scraps au pigeons, mixing videos with pleasure. Hane alifanya tukosane na ndugu, mane ilifanya tukosane na ndugu.
In the Tana Delta clashes.
Kila siku ni visa vya mauaji, ubakaji na wizi wa mabavu.
Killing not just each other but also slaying at least 6 police officers. The Human Rights Commission is worried that people displaced by the violence.
Na check it through glasses, kile naona ni Tana Delta clashes. Maimpi wetu wana haya goons in buses kwenda kumada, then mwana incha na cheki caskets. This is madness transformed to a mass grave. Labda seas ama buda kwa mix, wakikuchangia milioni moja kwa familia watakufix, watakusau very fast like a poko wanda sheets. Hakuna light 2030 wanacheza dark deals, wana block media intelligence wakitumia mase na whiz. It's a fucking disease, awalipia ta doctors fees. Juliza tukiwa mabiz then adu we get to benefit. Ishakuwa ni tendency ati gavai na mkwanja watakubaya Hennessy ukilemewa watakumada, kisha wanaosimamia hizi kesi ni mambanga, the most corrupted unit. Baki ukiwaza. This is food for thought for the common mwananchi.
This is food for thought for the common mwananchi.
This is food for thought for the common mwananchi. For the common mwananchi. This is food for thought for the common mwananchi.
This is food for thought for the common mwananchi.
This is food for thought for the common mwananchi. For the common mwananchi. Na vile tunakaribia electionia, najua mnataka kura lakini kumbe nia yenu ni mkirudi mje kutuibia, mna haya mpaka mamaafia, sources unclear. This is food for thought for the common mwananchi, but the manner that they treat you is not common mwananchi. Wataanzaje kuiba mahindi from the common mwananchi? Na vile wanajidai wako so close na dini kwa ufisadi corporal, wahitaji control. Roll call inaonyesha yendo kwa kwanza wrong court. Jokes jo wanafanya mpaka mabiza dope jo, ni makonjo hatuna hata bob lakini